Brown. Are you good? I know.
Yeah, when you do it.
So Kate right now is getting more, so she said she would get to it, but I said if the desk, because I called the desk, if they have someone, I would definitely keep the desk.
I'm one of the calmest people you'll ever know.
Right, it's not gonna
Hey, John.
Before you finish your setup, just
It's just like
sorry, I have a lot of
no, you're totally fine. I'm gonna
That's
have
there.
to time it anyway.
And
Yeah.
that way. Copy you.
Stand in there and be good.
No, I'm getting Ed, not her. You're Ed's head. Okay, great. Where you should move in the one time where he's talking.
You got more room to slide over.
As much as I'm sure that's your head. I know. Because I shoot and I write digital the radio spots. Everybody.
I'm trying to get some headphones to make sure that best time to get on. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and set it. I get paid for this.
I know. You need to be on my team. You're good, huh?
Apple box.
No, we're there. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no one has mentioned that. Like every week. Sometimes like they're just trying to make it.
This works. I like these people. Yeah, but I gotta. I may take it.
And they can do it with the pen.
I wonder if it's the whole game that's like
I'm trying not to say that because I'll jinx myself, but I've never. And now you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, the security. Guys, yeah, you look off.
Okay. Even with my bag, you're like, no.
I want to send it.
Okay.
Forgot all about it.
What happens when you're
Yeah, really, it's demotion. At least he gives a different speech and he's going to say what he always did. He keeps the same quote. I am represent the Christian conservative Republican.
Well, I think when he opened up the RG, Jewish headquarters in the yard, something in there mixed up. Maybe put a mazel tov.
this way.
Did you figure out what you needed to figure out?
Like little congregate, like okay.
Now I did.
Come over here. You can be there by yourself. Come over.
I'm telling you, my car is clean. Unless looked at it.
Oh, am I going to say?
Yeah, that's the only. Okay, so my question that I was going to ask is like, how do all the mics like stay together and not make any like feedback?
Feeding into different.
Oh, because all of them are different frequencies, so they only get feedback.
A lot of them are hardwired to the all the lines.
Yeah.
This feedback is more like from a speaker and a microphone.
Obviously, you do it while you're professional. Good job.
Oh no, you're good. You're perfect. Let me know. No, thank you. I won't have to think about it. I have.
Well, you stay right there. I will stay right here. Yeah. If I got my camera right next to your head, because I'm sure you're not going to move.
Don't move the muscle.
I'm just going to have my camera.
Nice to see you. Good to see you.
Exactly. Out and about. I'm still just
his emotion.
Yeah, right.
I must say, I don't post about it. Yeah, no, that's why I made one guy.
Yeah, there were. I was in. Everybody smile.
Yeah, very intense. 7 to 10
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so when you say there, how do we get there without blocking there?
Can we just separate? I'm gonna move. I'm just gonna put our recorder and move.
Come on, Elijah. That's what I So, right here is okay, but right here is not okay.
Oh my God, nice picture of you. Go for it. Love it. Cute, Tia. Cute picture of me. You posted. Yes.
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, Worldle is my other favorite runner. Just give them an outline of a country. Every 10 minutes will tell you where the answer is. Did you know this was happening? No. I just voted. I think you would tell voters. Hold on. I do know that.
Maybe, except.
Great.
You got to ask your questions from here, so get the shot, right?
So that's
It's like you got
I was like, I'm so Susanna, you see this here? It's a real life voter. I just can't. This is my release thing. Can I take a picture? Oh, wait. Oh, am I? I know. I was like, I didn't know. They're gonna like push it on the side. Please, good luck. You're gonna need to go stand.
My pad.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Richard, can I take this off? Where is it?
I mean, I know the deal. Alex said,
Can I take this off too? The wind flag?
No.
Don't take that off? Alright.
It'll sit up there.
We'll do our best.
That should be all right.
Good nation, you got about 30 seconds.
All right.
I know, right? I'm saying Friday night, yeah. So I'll go back Sunday. So that was good. Oh yeah. I'll see TV. Are you ready for here? About her? Yeah, it should be.
We might not see us around. Okay.
Yeah, you.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we all have to be in the picture.
All right.
There you go.
Here we go.
You're teeny tiny. Come here.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't have to sweat.
Oh, I know. Very good.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for being here, Stacey. Thanks for what you're doing and who you are.
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Now, I'm just so excited to be here on Election Day. This is the neighborhood I lived in for 15 years, and this is an important place, not only for voting, but it's emblematic of what Georgia can look like. This is a place that has struggled for years, but has resurged and is coming together. It is a diverse community where people may not have everything they need, but they believe more is possible. And this is an example of why I'm running. I'm running because I believe in one Georgia, whether it's bringing together neighborhoods or bringing together counties or bringing together an entire state. Our responsibility is to see the needs of every Georgian, to make certain those who are doing well continue to do well, but those who are trying have real opportunity, that those who are falling behind, that we catch them and lift them up. I'm running because I believe in one Georgia where everyone can thrive, and today is the beginning of the next phase of this campaign where we fight together for one Georgia and we win. Any questions?
Yeah, Senator Perdue yesterday had this comment. He said, "She ain't from here. Let her go back to where she came from." Would you care to respond?
No, not at all. I will say this. I have listened to Republicans for the last 6 months attack me, but they've done nothing to attack the challenges facing Georgia. They've done nothing to articulate their plans for the future of Georgia. Their response to a comment on their record is to deflect and to pretend that they have done good for the people of Georgia. We are number 1 in maternal mortality, number 2 in the number of uninsured. We are number 6 in infant mortality, number 9 in gun violence. We are number 48 in the provision of mental health services. And the challenge I have is that the answer from Republicans, from our former senator to our current governor, is to fight me instead of fighting the problems that are facing Georgia. And I urge everyone to pay less attention to rhetoric and more attention to the record and to the results. And I'm here to provide results for the future of Georgia.
Leader
What's your
Abrams,
message for the almost 400,000 Hispanic Georgia voters?
I'm sorry, say again?
Your message for the almost 400,000 Hispanic voters.
I want to say to all of the voters, especially the Hispanic voters, that your turnout is changing the future of the state. These are communities that have not only come recently, but have been here for generations. And what we can do together in Georgia is make certain that every Georgian can thrive, especially our Hispanic populations. We care about education, we care about job access and good wages. We care about making sure that our future is together. We know that Hispanic population has actually one of the lowest insurance rates, which means when they get sick or when they need mental health, they are the least likely to get it. I want to expand Medicaid to make certain that we are solidifying access, that we are guaranteeing opportunity, and that we're creating 64,000 jobs across the state of Georgia. And I want the Hispanic community to know that I've been with you, will stand with you, and will stay with you. I've never demonized, but I've always tried to deliver, and that's what I'll do as the next governor of Georgia.
Leader Abrams, Republicans have had a field day with your comment about this is the worst state to live in. Was that a mistake?
I had an inelegant delivery of a statement that I will keep making, and that is that Brian Kemp is a failed governor who doesn't care about the people of Georgia. If you look at record, if you look at the result under his 4 years of leadership, there has been failure after failure. When we faced being ninth in gun violence, his response is to create open season on Georgians by creating criminal carry. When we needed help for not being the #1 state with HIV diagnoses, his answer was to slash $4 million out of the state budget that would have helped those families. Just recently, this is the governor who, in the midst of rising costs for food and a baby formula shortage, has decided to decline $120 million in benefits for working families in Georgia who need help with food. This is going to hurt Georgians across the board, especially rural Georgians and Georgians who are desperately in need of support, because while he may have declared the pandemic over, it is not over for millions of Georgians, and they deserve his help, not his scorn.
Ed O'Keefe with CBS. How is this rematch with Governor Kemp going to be different? And you've seen former President Trump get awfully invested in the Georgia primary so far. How should Democrats be running against him since he's inserted himself in it?
4 years ago, I warned about the failure that Kemp was going to be, and 4 years later, I'm going to prove that he was the wrong choice for Georgia. We have seen a surge in Democratic voting despite not having competitive races at the top of the ticket. But what we've seen even more acutely are people who are struggling, who need Brian Kemp to pay attention to their needs, and he instead is paying attention to those who have and have more. We need him to pay attention to those who want more, who are willing to work for more, but they need a governor in partnership with them, not in opposition to them. Brian Kemp doesn't care about the people of Georgia, and you need only look at the fact that 3 hospitals have shut down under his watch during the worst healthcare crisis in a generation. If he cared about Georgians, he would be doing more to serve Georgians instead of serving himself.
Leader Abrams, why do you believe that your personal brand is strong enough in Georgia to outrun the headwinds facing your national party? And is there anyone from the Biden administration that you would like to campaign with in the general election?
Georgia is a state of greatness. We have incredible opportunity. And what I want people to understand is that we cannot achieve that opportunity if we don't acknowledge the challenges we have. I am here because I believe that we can talk about our challenges and work together towards success. That's the point of this campaign, and that's the point of the work I've been doing for the last 4 years. Whether I'm in office or not, my commitment is to Georgia. That's why I paid off the debts of 68,000 Georgians. That's why I delivered Wi-Fi devices across 150 communities when Brian Kemp sat silent and let communities suffer. I've done the work I can do when I didn't have the position, and now I want the job of leading Georgia. And that is, I think, emblematic of what every Georgian really wants. What we know is that there are going to be national headwinds. There always are. But what we can do here in Georgia is come together and fight together. And I welcome anyone willing to lift Georgia up to come to Georgia and help me get it done.
How do you plan to rebuild the multiracial coalition that you constructed in 2018 and 2020?
Could you face this way?
Certainly. Sorry. The way we build that coalition is by doing exactly what we've done for the last 10 years and for the last 4 years. I've never stopped talking to Georgians. I've never stopped being in community with Georgians. We have worked with communities across the state, racially diverse communities, ethnically diverse communities, religiously diverse communities. The responsibility we have is to not show up when we want votes, but to show up when they have needs, and I have done that through organizations I've created, through work I've done independently in the private sector, in the public sector, and in the nonprofit sector. I believe that we can rebuild that coalition, and we're already seeing it turn out. In this primary, despite not having the resources of Republicans or the competition of Republicans, what we have seen is record turnout among communities of color, among Latino and Hispanic and Black communities. Those are voters who weren't in the mix 4 years ago, and they are showing up in this primary, and we know they'll show up again in November. But it's my responsibility to give them a reason to vote. And part of my goal is to make certain they know that I see all of them, I hear them, and I will represent all of Georgia.
Leader Abrams,
What do the early voting numbers tell you? Is it possible that Democrats were wrong and that the new law isn't suppressing votes?
The question about voter suppression and voter turnout is causation without correlation. I'm sorry, see, you can make mistakes even when you know what you're talking about. It's correlation without causation. We know that increased turnout has nothing to do with suppression. Suppression is about whether or not you make it difficult for voters to access the ballot. And in Georgia, we know difficulty has been put in place for too many Georgians who wanted to vote by mail, who had to figure out a calendar of applying just early enough but not too late, who had to have wet signatures so they could print things out, take a picture, upload it. We know that across the state, counties have taken advantage of county election boards that have shifted their dynamic. In Spalding County, they eliminated Sunday voting to target a Black community that was showing up. We know that across this state, voters are still facing difficulties, and this is just the primary. Primary voters tend to be more active and engaged voters, but despite the difficulty, despite the outrage that is legitimate and real, we know voters want their right to vote to be made real and be held sacrosanct, and so they are showing up. We know that voter turnout is not proof that there isn't suppression. It is the antidote to suppression, and that's why we're going to keep fighting to make certain every Georgia voter who wants to cast a ballot can do so.
Leader Abrams, Eva McKen, CNN. When you speak to your supporters across the state, there is still some rawness from 2018. They say things like, you were robbed. Have you done enough to dispel the notion that the 2018 election, your 2018 election, was illegitimate?
In 2018, voters across the state were denied access to the right to vote. They were denied the ability to register and stay on the rolls. They were denied the ability to cast a ballot and the ability to have that ballot counted. I am not entitled to victory. And this election, the 2018 challenges were never about me. They were about whether Georgians were going to be treated as full citizens in the state. And to the extent that the 2021 laws returned us to a time when their votes were dismissed and their voting histories were discounted, then I'm going to keep fighting. But my important message is that the way we fight is by turning out more voters, by calling out voter suppression from Brian Kemp and Brad Raffensperger, but not just laying there, but standing up and fighting for more voters to turn out. And that's the work we're going to do. I'm looking for some local. Yes.
Yes. Hi, Blaine Alexander with NBC. After tonight, you become officially the Democratic nominee. Talk to us about your strategy going forward. Does your campaign shift into a new gear after today? And what does that look like?
The campaign that I'm running from the day I launched is about One Georgia. It's about traveling the state, talking to Georgians, and understanding that there is incredible pain in this state, that families are struggling and they're worried, but there is also extraordinary promise in the state, that more can be done, and it's not going to cost us new money and taxes. It's just going to cost new ideas and new innovation. We can work together to lift Georgia. We can expand Medicaid, give health insurance to 500,000 Georgians, give mental health care to our poorest Georgians, and create 64,000 jobs. We can do the work of serving every single Georgian, but only if we have new leadership that actually cares about Georgia.
You plan to invite
Hi, Tia from the AJC. Can you talk a little bit about what your campaign is going to look like now that you're in the general election season? Can voters in every county expect to see you like you did in 2018?
I'm not certain I'll make it to every single county, but I'll make it to every region of the state, and I will have a presence in every county in the state. But what's even more important is that I'm going to be listening to all the voters in the state. We've already built one of the most impressive apparatuses for voter engagement, and we're going to continue to expand. This is going to be an expensive race, but our investment is not going to be in tit-for-tat politics. It's going to be in making sure that every Georgia voter knows how to vote, knows why to vote, and knows where to vote. And we're going to give them a reason to vote. That's the mission of this campaign.
Hi, Kelly Bazan with Fox News. Do you plan to invite President Biden to campaign with you or for you ahead of November?
I welcome President Biden because he has delivered for the state of Georgia. We have seen billions of dollars come to the state. Now, they've been regifted by a governor who likes to take credit but without taking responsibility. But I am proud of Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, who've worked with our president to make certain resources are coming to Georgia. That's why I'm so dismayed by the decisions made by Brian Kemp to refuse to deploy money for unemployment benefits, to refuse to deploy resources for families who are struggling with rental assistance. He has refused to help the Georgians who need him most at the time when they need him most. It's because Brian Kemp doesn't care, but I care about Georgia, and I invite anyone who cares about Georgians to come down here and help me win.
Kelly Moore, News Nation, next star here.
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned they're fighting for one Georgia. Republicans throwing everything they got at you specifically. How do you plan to bridge and win some of the support from Republicans come November?
Republicans have the same challenges that Democrats do, and independents. They want to have healthy families. They want to have good jobs. They want access to housing that is affordable. They want health care. They want mental health support. And they want a brighter future. That's the conversation I've been having with Georgia voters. It's the conversation I intend to continue to have. But I also have plans for how we make it real. You don't have to raise taxes to raise the quality of life in Georgia. You don't have to raise taxes to meet the obligations in the state of Georgia. And what we can do together in the next 4 years is actually achieve the promise of Georgia. That's why I'm running, and that's why One Georgia is my mission. Thank you all so much.
Fueron estas las declaraciones de la candidata a la gobernación de Georgia.
Sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this morning.
Is where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead.
This severe weather is intensifying.
By knowing what's coming overhead. And we're Atlanta's traffic expert.
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time. Every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Alive News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing in.
We could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
how you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News.
We began with breaking news this
Is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing
We
in.
could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen delays almost 30 minutes worth of
helps you get there on time, every time. 11 Alive Morning News is where you start the day prepared. Watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m.
If you see breaking news or severe weather near you, snap it and share it using Near Me on the 11 Live News app. Want to verify if something's true or false? Record your question and send it. Download the 11 Alive News app to use Near Me.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. is where you find out what's happening now across Metro Atlanta.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cobb County, where a neighborhood is now
Where you stay a step ahead of severe weather.
Our storm risk has now been upgraded to a...
And the only place where you can verify fact versus fiction.
11 Alive can verify that claim is false.
11 Alive News at 11 p.m. Where you end the day ready to take on tomorrow.
Weather can't run from the 11 Alive Thunder Truck. A mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge. Fighting social inequality is on all of us. That's why 11 Alive is committed to sharing diverse perspectives, exposing injustice, and finding solutions. Voices for Equality, sponsored by Georgia Power and our other partners.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you see weather happening now across Metro Atlanta.
These severe storms are now closing
we
in.
could be talking about damaging winds, hail, and
How you can plan ahead by knowing what's coming overhead.
Heavy storms are rolling in.
Expect pop-up thunderstorms and rain all day long.
And how you'll be weather ready wherever you are.
We expect at any moment a tornado warning could be issued.
The 11 Alive Storm Trackers. It's how you'll be prepared and stay safe. 11 Alive Morning News
We began with breaking news this
is
morning.
where you know what's happening now.
11 Alive is live on the scene.
Where you can confidently plan ahead
This severe weather is intensifying.
by knowing what's coming overhead. And where Atlanta's traffic expert
We've seen
It's a terrific Terrific Tuesday. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody feeling today? I know it's such a busy week. We talked about it last week. I mean, it's just May is the new December with all of the things, the parties, the graduations, the end of school. Carol was saying that she's glad our kids aren't the same age because like this morning I had a presentation that Kate did to the parents.
Tell what it was about. It's kind of exciting.
They had to pick something that was important to them, important to the world. So they picked clean products. And 2 girls and 1 guy, Patrick, they made this video about you know, not animal testing, and it was so good. I go, oh, can I show a clip of it on the show? And they were all like, no.
That's fun, though. That's an interesting topic.
It was, and all that they learned, and then they each had a sample of products that are clean. And so anyway, that was great. And then I've got a little something for Caroline this afternoon. I've got Kate's graduation tomorrow, it's so exciting. Take a deep breath,
Can you say that Caroline, well, I don't want to announce what, but it's very exciting.
I know.
Say it.
So, you know, I've talked on the show, Caroline has, you know, some processing issues, all that. Since she's been this big, she's like, I need 12 tutors. She's always beat herself up. Why does my brain learn this way? And I'm like, you're the smartest. We got word late afternoon. She made Eagle Roll, which is 3.2 or better.
Yay! That's such a huge milestone. That's so exciting.
She needed this so bad. She did. I mean, I was like looking at the list yesterday. So it's this afternoon. And I'm just, for anybody that has any child that struggles with anything, whether it's a sport or definitely in school, you know the tears and everything that they've shed and their lack of confidence. So I'm just so excited.
I'm very excited for her, and I'm very excited for the teachers and the schools that have learned that not everyone learns the same way. And that's okay, and we need to support our students however they need to learn.
I really can't believe it. I'm just so proud of her.
That's
3.2,
awesome.
and I'm like, sky's the limit, honey. So anyway,
that's great. Will she get like to go out to her favorite place, or are we just like, thank you for